Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl. Imagine you're standing at the edge of an abyss so profound that it seems to swallow not just light, but hope itself. Around you, everything that once defined human dignity has been stripped away: possessions, status, even names replaced by numbers. In this place where survival seems to depend purely on chance and the whims of others, you witness something extraordinary. Some people, against all logic, continue to find reasons to live, to care, to maintain their humanity. What invisible force sustains them when everything visible has been taken away? This is the world Viktor Frankl entered as both prisoner and observer, a psychiatrist thrust into humanity's darkest theater. From the concentration camps of Nazi Germany emerged not just a survivor's testimony, but a revolutionary understanding of what drives human beings at their core. Frankl discovered that even in the most dehumanizing circumstances, those who found meaning in their experience were more likely to survive, not just physically, but with their essential selves intact. His insights challenge us to examine a fundamental question. In our modern world of abundance and choice, have we perhaps lost sight of what truly sustains us? Frankl's central revelation runs counter to much of what we might expect about human motivation. He observed that humans are driven not primarily by pleasure, as Freud suggested, nor by power, as Adler proposed, but by the search for meaning. This will to meaning becomes most visible not in comfort, but in crisis, when external supports fall away and only internal resources remain. In the camps, Frankl watched as fellow prisoners responded to identical circumstances in vastly different ways. Some descended into despair and gave up, while others maintained an inner flame that no guard could extinguish. The difference, he realized, lay not in their circumstances, but in their ability to find significance in their suffering, to connect their present pain to something larger than themselves. This observation would later become the foundation of logotherapy, a form of healing that helps people discover meaning rather than merely treating symptoms. Consider how this applies to your own moments of difficulty. When you face loss, disappointment, or seemingly insurmountable challenges, what determines whether you emerge stronger or more fragmented? Frankl suggests it's not the intensity of the experience, but your capacity to weave it into a meaningful narrative about who you are and why your existence matters. Frankl identified three primary sources from which humans can draw meaning, each offering a different pathway through life's inevitable difficulties. The first is through what we create or accomplish, meaningful work that contributes something valuable to the world. This doesn't necessarily mean grand achievements. It might be the care you bring to daily tasks, the problems you solve, or the beauty you create. The key is that your efforts connect to something beyond immediate personal gratification. The second source flows through our connections with others, the love we give and receive, the way we show up for people who matter to us. In the camps, Frankl noticed that those who held onto vivid memories of loved ones, or who found ways to care for fellow prisoners, often maintained stronger psychological resilience. Love, he discovered, is perhaps the ultimate meaning maker, transforming even mundane moments into something transcendent. But it's Frankl's third source of meaning that proves most challenging and profound: finding significance in unavoidable suffering. This doesn't mean seeking out pain or romanticizing hardship, but rather recognizing that when suffering becomes inevitable, our response to it can become a source of meaning. How we bear what cannot be changed, the dignity we maintain in difficulty, the growth we allow pain to catalyze. These become acts of creation as real as any external accomplishment. You might notice how this framework illuminates something crucial about our contemporary struggles. In a culture often focused on avoiding discomfort and maximizing pleasure, Frankl's insights offer a different lens. Your anxiety about the future, your grief over loss, your frustration with limitations. These aren't simply obstacles to overcome, but potential raw materials for meaning-making. The question becomes not how to eliminate all difficulty, but how to discover significance within whatever life presents. This perspective carries particular weight in our current age of abundance and choice. Many people today report feeling empty or directionless despite having more options and opportunities than any generation in history. Frankl might suggest this existential vacuum arises not from having too little, but from lacking a clear sense of why our choices matter. When everything is possible, nothing feels particularly significant. Consider your own relationship with meaning in daily life. Do you find yourself scrolling endlessly through options, entertainment, career paths, relationships, yet feeling strangely unsatisfied? This might reflect what Frankl called the difference between freedom from and freedom to. Modern life offers tremendous freedom from external constraints, but perhaps less clarity about what we're free to pursue that would genuinely matter. The implications reach into how you understand success and fulfillment, rather than asking whether your life is pleasant or even successful by external measures. Frankl invites you to consider whether it feels meaningful. Can you articulate why your daily efforts matter? Do your relationships connect you to something larger than yourself? When you face inevitable setbacks and sorrows, do you have resources for finding significance in how you respond? This isn't merely philosophical speculation, but intensely practical wisdom. Research consistently shows that people with a strong sense of meaning report greater life satisfaction, better physical health, and more resilience in facing challenges. Meaning, it seems, functions as a kind of psychological immune system, helping you metabolize life's difficulties rather than being overwhelmed by them. Perhaps most importantly, Frankl's insights suggest that meaning can't be given to you by others or discovered through endless searching, but must be found through engagement with life itself. Meaning emerges through the act of choosing how to respond to your circumstances, through deciding what matters enough to you to sacrifice for, through discovering what you're willing to stand for when tested. The key takeaway from Frankl's profound observations is that meaning isn't a luxury reserved for perfect circumstances, but a necessity that can be cultivated in any situation. Whether you're facing personal crisis or simply the quiet desperation that sometimes accompanies ordinary life, you retain the fundamental human capacity to choose your response. And in that choice lies the seed of significance. Your life becomes meaningful not when everything goes according to plan, but when you learn to find purpose within whatever unfolds. As you consider your own search for meaning, this question lingers. In a world that offers countless distractions from life's deeper questions, how might you cultivate the kind of inner clarity that allows you to recognize and pursue what truly matters to you? The answer waits not in some distant revelation, but in the quiet moments when you pause to consider why you do what you do, how you love whom you love, and what kind of person you choose to become in the face of whatever challenges emerge. In these moments of honest reflection, Frankl suggests, you discover that meaning was never lost, only waiting for you to notice it was there all along.